Peace, everyone. Welcome to another Foundational Friday on enlightenment and transformation. And speaking, I am Chief Yuya Hassan Anu, Head Jegna of the Anu Spiritual Order, Chief Instructor of the Sadulu House Spiritual Center. And I want to welcome you to the Foundational Friday experience and let you know right now, this evening we'll be dealing with the topic known as evolution. Evolution. Okay, so that is our topic that we're going to be kind of playing with this evening. Okay, but again, I just want to welcome all of you who are also listening from the archives, who are coming in a little bit later, those who are listening right now live on the internet, and those who will come in through YouTube. I want to give you all a reminder again. You may have noticed it, at least with the Masterminds Monday shows and our newest Safo, that they have now transitioned straight to YouTube. So to check those shows out, you want to go straight to YouTube. And I see some people have already been there and listening and leaving their comments. And please, we encourage you to definitely, if you like the videos that you're listening to, the shows, please share them throughout your networks, and definitely comment and definitely hit the like button. The comments are awesome too, though, because that allows us to kind of see what parts of the segments are affecting you. And sometimes we'll make more segments based on the parts that resonated with certain people, so sometimes we can build out on the shows and things like that. But it's just good to be in touch with you all, when you comment and whatnot like that. We get to see, just what's resonating with everyone, basically. So, we just ask that, as you're listening and you watch the videos and you play them in your background while you're cooking and while you're cleaning, which I'm being told the three main activities that associate enlightenment and transformation content, I'm told, are cooking, cleaning, and working out. I think working out, if we did a Family Feuds listeners poll, I think working out is the top one. A lot of people tell me when I'm working out, I listen to your shows. I guess because they're about an hour and you can get an hour workout in. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I definitely don't think I have the type of voice or any of the other hosts that would actually motivate you to get hyped for a workout. But maybe the information gets you hyped. So either way, however you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for riding with us and growing with us. It's a great time, getting a lot of positive feedback on that. And that's a part of the evolution, that's a part of the evolution of us all. And what I really want to, this is not going to be a long show. All right. This is not going to be a long show. When I'm attempting to do, sometimes certain topics, because I don't have a set format, like, okay, I have to go for an hour. Certain topics, I really just try to give them the time that the spirit wants to give them right now, for right now. And I can come back to it later, but for certain things, it's like, I'm not into rambling. So if the spirits are like, just get in, say this, get out, then that's what I do. And then sometimes certain shows it'd be like hour and a half or part 2. So now it's 2 hours and change or whatever. So it really, it depends on the topic. And that's one of the beauties of like a newer digital format, is that it allows you that freedom. It's not like, I have a station programmer and they're like, no, you got to fill this slot up and you got to figure out and come up with things to say. And then it starts to be less authentic. But really trying to maintain the spiritual potency of this experience allows us just to do what we're led to do, So yeah, evolution is our topic. And like I said, I just wanted to remind everybody before we go forward, with the topic that, by November 1st, these segments, when I say these, my Thursday and Fridays, which is Thunderground Thursdays and Foundational Fridays, will also be going direct to YouTube. Because, truthfully, it's actually easier to check them out on YouTube because, again, Blog Talk not having an app, and I don't really do live shows too often on Thursdays and Fridays. So you don't really need that option to call in on those shows. But Sundays will still be on Blog Talk. Okay, so Sundays you can still tune in, call the number, talk, 347-945-7680. Chief Speaks will still be on Blog Talk, but we'll be also broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube. So we'll be broadcasting on High Frequency, Enlightenment and Transformation on Blog Talk, as well as Enlightenment and Transformation on YouTube. Oh, and for those of you who've been checking out the videos on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel as well. It's a brand new channel, so there's not that many videos up there yet, but we're uploading about maybe 5 a strong, and then I have some more sitting in the cut that I'm going to also put up on the channel as well. I just have to kind of get to them, thumb through them, and go through the drive and see what's there and what we want to put out there. But by getting a certain amount of subscriptions to it also allows us to get our custom URL, so we don't have all those long goofy numbers. So that way I can just say go to youtube.com/enlightenment and transformation. All right, as opposed to go to youtube.com/YZLF5Z13_2, whatever it may be. But yeah, so let's get to the topic. That's enough of the what's going downs. Dealing with evolution, right? Evolution is to me a humongous topic. It's similar to the God topic because it's a word that's thrown around a lot, like DNA, like genetics, or genetic, like love, like ascension, awareness. A lot of these words, a lot of times in certain communities we throw around a lot, but we don't really have the actual defining point or the defining origin of these terms. We just use them because they fit in. Like people will say things like, our DNA is ascending, and it sounds good, but I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. So when you start to understand and learn genetics, you'll use different kinds of phrases, but parathenically within the context of certain community, we know what you're talking about. And sometimes some of those phrases are just poetic, motivational terms that you need too. Certain times when you hear certain phrases, even though they may not make total sense from a linguistic perspective, they do help to motivate you. They do help to inspire you to get you to a certain space. So if I look at someone and say, your DNA molecules are exploding all over the place and you're ascending and climbing to a higher state of awareness that you've never been to, and you're moving beyond the mountain peak of your own conscious limitations. I just freestyled that and made that up. But somebody might hear it, and that's to some degree that's artful and it's contrived and it's fabricated, but it's poetic enough to some, even though some really speak like that. But it's poetic enough to some that may help them to drive forward. But if we start to break it down, we may realize, it kind of didn't really make as much sense, but it just, it sounded good. So basically you're preaching, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I know everybody needs different things to get them to where they need to go. And that's a part of what evolution is, A lot of times when we think of evolution, we think about us being at point A and being a certain type of creature at point A, and then moving through natural process or moving through the induction of certain principles and norms and certain values and characteristics of information, and then having that evolve us to point B. And but we will say whatever we are at point B will be different than what we were at point A. And a lot of times this is what we classify as being evolution, or going through a state of evolving, or sometimes we speak about our glorious past, what we were at one point in our life, and then we say we're going to evolve and reclaim our greatness, or reclaim our original form, or our original glorified state. And again, it sounds good, and it may inspire us to certain things, but this may not be 100% accurate based on what evolution may really be saying to us and may really be about in our lives. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get into this deeper. We're going to go straight through it. But we're going to take a quick break real quick so I can drink some of the sparkling water. We'll be right back after these announcements.
Are you ready to take action and rise to the next stage of your evolution? Then monthly life coaching services at osirislife.com are just for you. Osiris Life does not just focus on spiritual development. We offer a holistic approach to helping you realize your goals and teach you the tools to overcome any barriers to your success. Services at Osiris Life are provided on a monthly basis and include, but are not limited to, spiritual consultations and one-on-one coaching, instructionals via podcasts and videos, life mapping and goal tracking, anonymity, spiritual work done on your behalf, and there are 3 package levels to choose from. Take the steps to get your life on track and flourishing by purchasing a subscription package today at osirislife.com. We invite you to share in the power of goodwill by becoming an Anu Nation sponsorship partner. Anu Nation is a community design organization whose programs and services often depend on sponsors and philanthropic support from foundations, businesses, and generous individuals like you. Our sponsorship program provides involvement by our affiliates in the 5 major markets, plus the impact of an international media campaign. By partnering with us, you join a powerful movement that supports thousands of people who find healing and personal growth and development with our help. For more information and to purchase a sponsorship package today, please visit us at inunation.org/anu/sponsor-us.
Hey, and we're back with more Foundational Friday on enlightenment and transformation. And I guess I started with hey because I was just thinking I want to thank those who have sent in offerings for the work that we're doing, especially the Africa Initiative. Not to say that any other thing is less important, more important, but thank you for those of you who have sent in your donations and your offerings for those particular efforts that we're working on. Definitely appreciate that. And we're going to release a little bit more information probably closer to the end of the year for those of you who have contributed, just to kind of let you see what's going on. The cool thing is because I've been doing the work for it's been a lot of years now. You're really offering into something that has momentum, so which is kind of cool. Because sometimes when you're doing fundraising, which I do not profess to be an expert in, because I'm not, just like I'm not really an expert at sales. I don't really like bothering people that much. Once they say, no, I'm going to say, okay, all right, you ain't shit. All right. Bye. Have a good day. So I could never be like a cold call salesman. It just wouldn't work. But, a lot of times when you're doing fundraising work, you're getting to a certain number before you can actually do something. And, you're relying on your fundraising efforts and, of course, the goodwill of the people and really just the interest of the people. Is this something you're even interested in seeing? And, but the cool thing is that, because again, like I said, a lot of these things like Sadulu House and so many other things I've already been doing. The offerings really help to enhance what I'm already doing and really help to take a lot of the pressure off of me. That really helps a lot, which allows me to do some other things. Like some of you may have noticed, even, there's been a change in even like the shows a little bit since they've gone to YouTube, because now I have a little bit more, just an inkling, a little bit more time to kind of put into some of the shows and things like that. And that's what I really want to kind of put my investment into as much as doable. It's just really getting a nice strong body of work, a body of information out there, so we can really cite who's who. We can really cite where the dead weight is. Because it gets to a point where it's like you don't really have an excuse anymore. Look, don't tell me you didn't know. like someone was talking to me recently about that in terms of people who are still unconscious, and they were like, well, what if like they weren't told certain things? I said, that's BS. Everyone has been exposed to someone conscious at some level in their life. That's the stage that we are in our development. That's why we were able to enter into the Kali Yuga era. You were able to enter into the age of ignorance because so much information had come forth. And even more so now, but everyone has run into someone who has given them some direction or some guidance towards a higher path, whether it's to eat better, to work out, to read books, that, hey, you need to pray to a higher power, whatever it was. Respect the earth. Don't throw that gum wrapper on the ground. Everyone has been exposed to someone who was trying to lead them into a better direction, and people have made conscientious decisions as to where they would like to be. So those of us who teach, or some of us, not me so much, but we try to figure out more engaging and more provocative ways to present the same exact information to get people to pay attention. So we may do it through flash, lots of lights and lots of glittery, shiny things to get you to look over here so I can give you some of this information. We may do it through guilt. We may do it through the sheer output of emotions, yelling and screaming and stuff like that. But basically everyone's pretty much saying the same thing, man. Get yourself together. Get in touch and in tune with the universe. Get in touch and tune with nature, because if you're going against nature, then nothing's going to work for you. Everyone's kind of saying the same thing, and you realize after a while that it turns into a church, because what do the preachers do? They say the same message that they've been saying. They say the same message that they've been saying for the past 300 years, and they just find new, engaging ways to say it. They curse, they break dance, they do flips, they start singing. Pastors and first ladies are being produced at a level where they just keep coming out better looking and better looking. They're the most handsome and pretty people in the community. Those are the ones who always end up being the pastors and the first ladies, so they keep our attention, things like that. But it's because you're saying the same thing over and over again, and it has not evolved. It has not evolved. So evolution, as I was saying right before the break, is not necessarily a natural progression from point A to point B, because you don't necessarily have to evolve. You're not like a butterfly where you have to go from here to there. And there's two terms that I really want us to look at for a moment, and I had mentioned them before the show, before the break, because sometimes we get them a little confused. Again, those terms that we use, that we need them for motivational purposes, but after we kind of sober up a little bit, it's good to kind of now let's think about and figure out what the heck we're over here chanting and pumping our fists up in the air about. So like, you got revolution, you got evolution, right? Or you have revolve, or you have to evolve, right? And revolution or revolving, it deals more with us going back to a starting point. So a lot of times when we say that, we're revolutionaries or we're about the revolution, sometimes what's in our mind is really evolution, even though we're saying revolution, because revolution means that we go back. It means to go back. Whatever has been given, it's like having a red carpet and then taking that carpet and rolling it back up. That's a revolution. So you're going back to your starting point. So maybe you can roll the carpet back out again, but you may roll it out. You may roll it out differently this time. So, we rolled it out in the wrong place. Let's move over here to this building, to this venue, and roll it out over there. You see? So evolution deals with the actual rolling out of the carpet. In fact, to evolve or to evolute or to go through a process of evolution just means to unfurl, to kind of spin out from an original starting place. But whatever is spinning out and however you are spinning out, you're unrolling yourself. So that means when you're evolving, remember the example I gave earlier, going from point A to point B, when you get to point B and you appear to be something different than what you were at point A, you're nothing but a more expanded form of what was at point A. But everything that was in you to evolve to point B or point C or point D or point E was in you at point A. You know, it's like a female, right? She has all the eggs in her that she's ever going to have for the rest of her life. I always thought that was kind of deep, you know? So as she's going through her menses and she's, producing, or not really producing, but when she's ejecting those eggs out of her system, those are eggs that have been with her. Those are children that were already there from the very beginning. You see? So evolution is the same way. Wherever we're going to go, wherever we're going to expand to, we already have that potential inside of us to expand to it. Now, we can romanticize what that evolution looks like. We can romanticize what that unfurling will be or how that unfurling will appear. But the truth is, if it ain't in you, it ain't in you. You know, evolution doesn't mean taking on new qualities and characteristics that are completely foreign to you to become this completely new creature or being. What that's called is mutation. That's something different. And sometimes we confuse mutation with evolution. So like we'll say, the planet is changing and we got the greenhouse effect and solar warming and blah, blah, blah. And we're evolving to a place where we can deal with that. Well, that means wherever that evolution was, it had to have already been present in you already for you to evolve to that place. Now, if you say you're mutating to that space, then we have to look if that mutation is a product of natural phenomenon or artificial intrusions into your actual gene pool array. You see? So evolution is a critical thing when you think about it, because it forces you to go to revolt. It forces you to go back into the coil of what you are. Because that's when you're thinking about evolution evolving, I want you to imagine yourself as being a coil. And I've told you before, even the word spirit, plasma, they're all connected with the term and the idea of a spiral. It's all about the spirals, all about the spirals. It's not all about the wombs. It's not all about the penises. I know some of us, we get off into the sex thing a lot. Like, yeah, it's all about this interaction between male and female. Yeah, when you're here, because you're forced to to deal with duality. But when you're thinking about self-actualization and energy, it's all about that spiral, not the circle, not the cipher, the spiral. And the spiral, it's a coil. Now, a coil can be compressed or a coil can be elongated. Pretty much like, Africoid hair. Africoid hair is what? It's elliptical, but it's in a spiral. And you can pull that spiral out, or you can allow that spiral to compress and come closer to the source. The closer it gets to the source, the more revolutionary it is. So like when some of you put the permanents in your hair and the process in your hair, and your hair turns back to its original coil and it unstraightens itself, that's actually a revolutionary act of your hair. It's saying, I'm going to roll back to the source. I'm going to roll back to the beginning. And let me see if you screw me up again. Let me see if you run the hot comb through me again, or you run the lie through me again. Let me see if you're going to do that. But I'm going to coil back and give you an opportunity to do it again. So that's what revolution is about. It's a second chance, or a third chance, or a fourth chance, or a fifth chance, until you've stretched that rubber band so much that there's nothing left in it. You've killed all the life of it. You see, you can kill a revolution. Okay, you can kill a revolution. You can kill a revolution with a lot of false starts. Okay, but one of the things you want to think about, because really, what is this showing? We're talking about evolution, right? Evolution, and the idea of evolution, like I said, it demands that we understand that whatever it is that we're evolving to is something that we already had the potential and the predetermination to evolve to before we actually did it. You find this is very interesting when you look at certain Mayan artwork. One of the things or for some you may know as Aztec. But one of the things that I've always found interesting about the Mayan artwork is the use of the tongue. You see a lot of times the tongue is hanging out. You also find this in certain Asian artwork as well. You see some of the dragons and they have the tongue out, right? And the reason being is because the tongue, well, it's different for each one. In Asian culture, that tongue represents the continuation of time. So a lot of times when you have the double dragons, the tongues are actually connected, and that represents a continuation of time. Okay, but in the Mayan or the Aztec work, you'll find that tongue, and that tongue represents a sword, which you find in other cultures. I mean, you've heard me say before that the tongue is the flaming sword that sits in the water of the mouth, which is a saliva. And you can end life or you can create life using that flaming sword, the tongue. You can evolve or you can devolve based on the things that you say and the things that you speak into yourself. So you find that the unfurling, because the tongue, sometimes you'll also see in certain artwork that it's actually rolled up and then the tongue can roll out, which is a form of evolving. Why? Because the tongue not only represents that sword, but it represents truth. And in a simple sense, the sword of the tongue cuts through the BS. I was going to say something funnier, but I'm not going to say that. But let's just say that the tongue, it cuts through the BS, right? Kind of like the Alada, Alade of Ogun, his machetes, cuts through the woods, cuts through the illusion of the forest. Because remember, the forest represents heaven. The forest represents the underworld. It's that place that you go into and that you may really be confused by. So then Ogun comes with his shiny machete, he cuts right through it and cuts a clear path. You see, so that we can evolve from point A to point B. But of course, in order for us to be in point B, we had to have the substance in us already to be there. When we were at point A, we just didn't realize because maybe we were living a durational lifestyle. See, because there was a time, remember the old school conscious community? And I really just can't say the conscious community because it wasn't really called that. It was more called the African liberation community. We got diluted to the conscious community because we felt that we had to be all inclusive, so that way we couldn't keep saying things about Africa. Kind of like music. Remember there was a time when rappers would say terms like strong black nation, I'm a black man, stuff like that. And it was still cool though. You can't say that anymore though. No one's going to use the term black, unless they cracking on you. And African, I mean, not really. Maybe on a side thing, they might say they buying drugs from an African, but that's about it. So, yeah, but you remember back in the days, when the conscious community was actually the African liberation community. I'm not saying that was the official name, because in truth there was no official name. Because when you have a real movement, you don't need to name it. When you really get busy, other people will name it for you. They'll call you gorillas. They'll call you the Zapatistas. They'll name it for you, but you just know you getting busy. You got some work you want to do, and people, their reaction will name it. But there was a time in that community where we used to hear certain phrases about the greatness of who and what we are, and that woke us up to that greatness, and that caused some of us to evolve. So somebody would look at us and say, hey, young warrior, hey this, hey young king, peace young sister, peace young queen. The different phrases like that, where we weren't really projecting that in our current mode, but there were people who saw that in us. I used to say all the time to people, like, when I go through certain neighborhoods, I see the village. I don't care where you put me, I can see the village. The people hanging outside and congregating and doing certain, and it may be a lot of negative things in that space as well, but I see the village there. I see the village and the people, not so much anymore, because there's been a revolution. So you thought the only revolution that we were going to have was a revolution towards higher consciousness, but there's been a revolution where we've gone back and erased memory. We've erased potential. So there are now people who don't have the potential that you think they do. So when you say, yeah, young king, young queen, they're looking at you like, what? Nah, that's not waking me up to anything, because it's not in me. It's gone now. It's gone. Because you played around with it for so long. You played around with the rhetoric for so long and didn't show me true examples of it, that it was very easy for somebody to come in to erase that story. One of the reasons why you have so many slave movies now, because history is being rewritten. You know, history is being rewritten. So so evolution becomes necessary for us to express and unleash the fullness of what we actually are. That's what it really is. And in some instances, you'll see that, like you see the movie, one of the listeners to Chief Speaks asked if I saw it. I did actually see it after he told me. Lucy, he had called in and said, "You see Lucy?" I didn't see it yet, but because I think I was talking about the movie Her, which had Scarlett Johansson, at least the voice of Scarlett Johansson in it. And then he called in and he said, "Did you see the movie Lucy?" And I checked out Lucy. And of course, you know that Scarlett Johansson was in that flick. And similar to, what was it, The Sixth Element? Something like that. The one with Bruce Willis and Chris Rock, when he erased whatever he could have been for us because he's sitting there, transvestite in a dress, running around with a high voice. So that's what they do, because no matter what they do after that, you're gonna say, "Yeah, remember he was in a dress, running around," you know. He erased his evolution potential. I know that's a hard statement, because a lot of you will say, "How you gonna say it about somebody? You don't know what that person is capable of," and neither do they now. You know, certain things, certain lines you should never cross because you can't get back across them. That's one of the secrets that we weren't taught. There's a lot of secrets. That's why we do all of this study and we listen to shows like this, because we're trying to unlock the mysteries that have been hidden from us. You know, we talk about the mystery schools and secret societies, stuff like that. Well, and then when somebody starts telling you the secrets, you want to align it and associate it with your current culture. Like one of the secrets, again, certain lines you cross, you cannot come back from. It's just like, take it in a real basic sense, right? A person can preach as much information as they want to you, and they're so deep and this and that, so forth and third. You find out they're a child molester. Then what? And it's proven. They're caught red-handed and they admit it. Yeah, you know, this is what I did. Then what? And we got to take out the scenarios. People say, well, they were coerced. They weren't themselves. That was a clone there signing the confession. No, you see that. No, this was actually this person who did this. They can't come back from that. There's nothing they can tell you after that. You see? But when you get to a certain space where you've lost your potential of what you could have evolved to, you find that you'll accept the unacceptable like that. You'll see people who get caught in all kinds of situations, red-handed, and you just keep riding with them. It's because of what is broken inside of you now. You identify with what's broken inside of them. And you don't want to be fixed, and you don't want to see them fixed, because you don't want to be left alone. Nobody wants to be left in an old warehouse full of broken toys by themselves. So, evolution becomes a necessary thing to activate and engage in not only our youth, but within ourselves. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. You see? So first, before that evolution occurs, there must be a revolution. And the revolution says, okay, everything that I'm currently doing, if I'm not reaching my full and maximum potential, which of course I don't know what it is. You may never know what it is. It's ever unfolding, really. We don't know how long that carpet rolls out. You know, we don't know how many strands there's supposed to be. And but you have to revolve first. You have to pull back and say, okay, hold on, let me go back to the source, right? Read Volver. Read is go back. Volver is like to turn. So let me turn back. Let me look back. Let me see back. Basically, let me see behind me. Let me see the clip off. Let me see the dark side of me, where everything is rolled up in. So then I can get a sense of what I'm supposed to be doing. This is one of the reasons why you get life path readings. That's a revolutionary action. Let me go back and see what the heck I'm supposed to be doing. I may not be hitting the mark here. Then I can evolve. After I revolve, I can evolve and move forward with a greater sense of purpose and a greater sense of expectation. So I know what I'm supposed to look at point C, point D, point E, point F, point G. I know where I'm supposed to be there. And when I start to see changes in myself, I'll understand that this is just a part of my evolution. This is not some new stuff. This is what I was already slated to evolve to. You see? So just something to think about. All right. I told you this wasn't going to be a really long show, but I just wanted to, like some of the shows that I've done recently, just give you something to think about. All right. This Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, Chief Speaks. Make sure you tune in. 11 a.m. Eastern, Chief Speaks. And the call-in number is 347-945-7680. But we probably will also be doing a Google Hangout simultaneously. So you can tune into that as well. The link will be in the description of the show. And again, if you like the shows, if you like what's being said, comment, like, share. And you know, somebody had left a comment on one of the videos where we had given a ritual for the webinar. And they were like, you're supposed to evoke Eshu first. It was a Shango ritual. And they were like, I'm sorry, sometimes you gotta laugh at some of these people. They're like, you're supposed to evoke Eshu first, and I don't see that anywhere. When you evolve to a certain place, this is a cool thing about evolving. You don't even feel it. Like, you don't even see the necessity to deal with or have certain conversations anymore. It's like I gotta revolve so far back to start explaining to you, number one, that's rude to just get on somebody's video and say, oh, you're supposed to do, who the heck are you? You know, that's one of the sicknesses that we've picked up in North America. I've noticed that on social media. Like, you'll put up a post or something, people won't even greet you first. They'll just start talking. And then trying to give instruction, and you don't know what the heck you're talking about. So that means anytime you pick up a book on Yoruba tradition and it's showing you offerings or whatever for any Orisha, it's got to also show you how to invoke Eshu on every single offering. Or every single ritual, every single prayer has to begin with that shoe. You see how stupid and foolish some people are? And that person can take it however they want. I don't care. I've evolved beyond that point where I'm concerned about that. But the beautiful thing about evolution is that you get to a space where you see the world a little bit differently, because the darts or whatever that are being thrown, people don't even realize that's being thrown at the ghost who's at point A. I'm not even there anymore. So it doesn't affect me. And that also allows you to look back into situations in your life and without so much hurt and so much pain. One of the reasons why we don't evolve, I'll tell you, is because we're so afraid of the past, because the past is full of fire and burning. That's why it's so hard for a lot of us to evolve, because we have to revolt first. We have to go back to the source first. And the only thing back there is pain. So we get into these new age systems where we're just dealing with the now and we're dealing with going forward. Because I don't want to go back. It hurts too much. There's nothing good back there, really, but just a lot of fire. You know, so to avoid that, I never evolve. So there'll never be a revolution. Never be a revolution if you're not willing to go back and face the fire. Because the fire is what you came from. Then you can go forward into the glorious evolved future. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You know, but you're not alone. There's a lot of us going through it. You know, you got help. Like all of you who are members of the Sadulu House Spiritual Center, lean on each other. I always encourage that. You know, students, you don't lean on me. Don't lean on me. I am too, what's the word? I'm too flexible. Because if something comes to me tomorrow dawn, it's like, you know, you could really find your way back home if you stop everything you're doing. That's it. Peace. You know, because I'm willing to be the fool. I'm willing to completely abandon my identity in order to evolve to the next step. You know, so friends a lot of times they'll tell me like, yeah, man, I was calling you. Somebody got on me about it the other day. It was like, yeah, if I was waiting for you, I would have ended up dying and this and that. And I said, yeah, well, now you know I'm not the one to rely on. I got too much going on. No, there's other people who are good for that. They have a lot more time on their hands. But no, I'm not the one. You know, friends a lot of times they call me with that, man, I've been calling you. Yeah. I get back to you. It was an emergency. Emergency for you doesn't mean it's an emergency for me. You know, there's people who can get me right away and I'm right there, but I'm not that to the world. So yeah, that's why you got to lean on your communities a lot of times, man. People who are going through the process with you, because the things that I'm teaching, I've already gone through. So I don't have the same framework of time or the same matrix of activity that you may have right now. So that's why those communities are important. It's good to sometimes find out who your community is and work with them, and not be ashamed or afraid to say, I need some help. 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 Don't let the world crush you under its weight, man. Sometimes you need a spotter. Help, get this thing off me, But anyway, that has been our segment. I want to thank you all for tuning into Foundational Friday, and I will speak to you all this Sunday. And of course, this Sunday evening, we'll be dealing with the Spiritual Gifts of Herbs webinar. And the webinar after that is the Spiritual Gifts of Oils. We'll be dealing with, which I'm really looking forward to that one. The herbs one, I definitely dropped some really good stuff in there for Sister Kim and with the rituals and everything. So we were building on that today. We were like, yeah, the rituals are, they're tight. And then, between those and just even the free ones that we gave out and the videos, because we did 8 videos. That was the number I said we were going to do. We were going to give away 8 rituals leading up to the webinar. And then we have some more in the webinar itself that are like, more evolved, of course, involved and evolved. Those rituals in the webinar. And then after that, we're doing oils, and then we're doing alchemy. So yeah, get on it. We got a lot of good stuff coming forth, because like I said, no excuses. So much information, and we're just pouring it out, and there's no reason for people to say no one told me. I didn't know what to do. Everything that you can imagine that you could be one day is already sitting there rolled up and balled up inside of you. You just got to straighten the rope, like we learn in the sacred Odu of Obara Meiji. We're attached to all things at all times. This is the principle of the omnipresence of Obatala, Obara. You see, just straighten out the rope, unfurl it, evolve it. Yeah, that's another show. All right, until next time, I'll speak to you all this Sunday. Make sure you call in good and early, 347-945-7680. I'll speak to you all this Sunday on Chief Speaks. And please comment, share, and like this video. Hotepu.
If you are interested in learning how herbs can be used for healing and magic, then join us on September 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern for a power-packed Anu Nation webinar. The Spiritual Gifts of Herbs live webinar will be hosted by Kim, who is the host of Anu Asafo and a member of the Sadulu House Spiritual Center. Some of the topics will cover how to use herbs for specific uses and spiritual practices, discerning which herbs are best for men and women, and why certain herbs are associated with male and female deities. Those who RSVP early and attend the event will receive 25% off Anu Nation products and services. Simply go to anunation.org/events and register before September 13th. Learn how to choose herbs to create effective rituals by attending the Spiritual Gifts of Herbs webinar. See you there.